All right, Unit 8 test review. Question 1. What is the difference between lateral and total surface area? Remember that your lateral surface area is your faces, no bases. So that means you're going to find the area of all your faces, not including those two bases that you have. Total is finding the area of all of your faces plus your bases. So it's faces and bases. Again, lateral, it's the sum of the area of faces without your bases. We know it as faces, no bases. Total is the sum of the area of faces in a figure. This is your faces and your bases. Question 2. What are the steps to finding surface area, both lateral and total? The first thing you always need to do is shade in those bases. Shade your bases. You always want to shade those bases. 2 is find the area of each face and each base and each base. Now the next step just depends on if you're finding total or if you're finding lateral. So if you're finding lateral, your next step is to add all area of faces together. If you're finding total, you're going to add all faces and bases together. So everything together. Know the difference. Lateral is just your faces and total is everything, faces and bases. All right, so number 3, we're going to find the lateral and total surface area of the following rectangular prism. Again, our first step right here is to shade in our bases. Our bases are the ones that stick out on the side. So in this case, it's going to be this top one and this bottom one. Our bases are rectangular. And so are our faces. So we need to find the area of each of these, kind of like composite figures. We're going to separate each of these and find the area of each. One thing I like to do is make sure I know my measurements. So for instance, if this right here is 6, this right here will also be 6. If this is 6, then this one is 6. And if this is 6, this one over here is also 6. So if you notice they're all the same length, that means they're all going to be the same measurement. If from this right here is 3, that means this top one is going to be 3. Now we get an arrow here that this is 2. This top part's 2, the bottom's also 2. This right here is 3, that means this also is 3. And then now nothing right here is, not showing us anything. But if you look, this rectangle and this rectangle are very similar. So we're also going to put this having a base of 2. All right, so now that we know all of our measurements, we need to find the area of each. So what I'm going to do is just draw some arrows. That way you can make it clearer. We're going to do this first one right here. That's the first one we're going to do. we need to find the area of this rectangle. The area of a rectangle formula is A equals base times height. Make sure you remember these. Now they will be on a formula sheet, but try to memorize them. All right. Our base in this particular rectangle is 2, and our height is 6. Multiply those together, and the area of this particular face is going to be 12 centimeters. So that right there is 12. And since this rectangle and this rectangle have the same measurements, this one's also going to be 12. Let's do this larger rectangle. Still a rectangle, so we're still going to use the area formula for a rectangle, which is base times height. This time our base is 3 and our height is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. So then this larger rectangle gives me an area of 18. If you notice, this one in the end and this middle one, they're the same. So it's also going to be 18. Which leaves us to finding the area of our bases. Still a rectangle, so we're going to do A equals base times height. This time our base is 3. And our height, if you look up here, same thing, it's 2. So then area of our base is 6 centimeters squared. Our bases are always going to be congruent, meaning they're going to have the same measurement. What I just did was only our step 2. Now our step 3 is now adding them based on what we're finding. So for lateral, to find our lateral, we're going to add up our faces, no bases. So we're just going to add our faces together. Our faces are the ones that I did not shade, so we're going to add together 12, 18, 12 again, and one more 18. Those are all of our faces, so we're going to add those together. And we get 60 centimeters squared for our lateral. For total is faces plus bases. Therefore, we're going to add everything together. We know our faces would be 12 plus 18 plus 12 plus 18. And we want to add that to our bases. Now remember, our bases are congruent. We have 2 bases. Each of them are 6 centimeters, so we can multiply those. Now if you remember, our lateral is just our faces, so we already calculated this. This section right here is 60 centimeters because we already added it. This time we're just going to add those bases. 6 plus 6, or 2 times 6, which gives us 12. Then we need to add them. 60 plus 12, which is 72 centimeters squared. Remember that your total surface area is going to be a little bit larger than your lateral because you're adding everything, not just your faces. All right, number 4. Name the following nets. This first net, we want to shade in our bases. Things that we can use to identify. Well, how many bases does it have? It has 1 base. That right there can help me identify that it is a pyramid. The shape of the vase helps me identify what kind of pyramid it is. The base is a triangle base. Therefore, this first shape is a triangular pyramid. Right, the next shape, shading that base. We have one base, and it is shaped as a square or rectangle. Either one will do. Since it has one base, it represents a pyramid, and then the shape of our base represents what kind of pyramid. So since we have a rectangle base, it is a rectangular pyramid. And the next one. This one's a little different. This one we have two bases, and these are triangular bases. So two bases, which represents a prism. And then we have a triangle bases. So it represents a triangular pyramid. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Triangular prism. I got ahead of myself. Two bases means prism. My apologies. All right, next one. Number 4, find the total and lateral surface area of the following pyramid. Pyramids and prisms, when it comes to surface area, it's the same thing. We're breaking it up. We're adding finding the areas of all of our shapes within our pyramid or prism and then adding them together. First step, shade that base. This right here, this middle piece in pyramids, that's my base. Now if you notice, we're only given one measurement right here, that's 7 centimeters. So we're going to assume that this one right here is also 7 centimeters, and the left one and the right one. So this would represent a square base. We are also only given one height for a triangle, so we're going to assume that all of these triangles have the same measurements. So let's go ahead and find the area of our base. We have a square, so the area of a square is s squared, or base times height. In this case, our area would be 7 squared, or 7 times 7, which would equal 49 centimeters squared. All right. Our shapes of our faces are triangle faces. Which are all the same. So we just need to find one measurement, or we just need to calculate it once, is what I mean. So our area for a triangle formula is A equals base times height divided by 2. Our base of our triangle right here, that's 7. And the height, it tells us right here, is 9.1. And then don't forget, continue on with dividing by 2. We always want to multiply first, that 7 and 9.1.